I want to tell you about the most frightening book I've ever read. Not a horror novel, not a war memoir, a work of academic psychology published in 1973 that that won the Pulitzer Prize and then was largely forgotten by the general public because the thing it describes is so uncomfortable that most people would rather not know about it. The book is The Denial of Death by Ernest Becker. Its argument it is simple and devastating. The primary motivation of human life is not the pursuit of happiness or the accumulation of wealth or the search for meaning. It is the terror of death. Everything we do, every career we build, every identity we construct, every ideology we embrace, every distraction we pursue is at its root an attempt to manage the terror of knowing that we will die. Becker writes, "What does it mean to be a self-conscious animal? The idea is ludicrous. If it is not monstrous, it means to know that one is food for worms." That sentence landed in my mind like a brick through a window because I recognized it, not as an abstract philosophical proposition, as the thing I feel every morning at 3 a.m. when the house is dark and the defenses are down and the knowledge of my mortality rises like water in a basement, the character armor. Becker's central concept is what he calls character armor. And the set of habits, roles, identities and distractions that we construct to shield ourselves from the awareness of death. The armor is necessary. Without it, we would be paralyzed. A creature that was fully conscious of its mortality at every moment could not function, could not go to work, raise children, make plans, or do any of the things that constitute a human life. But the armor is also a prison. It works by narrowing our consciousness, by restricting our awareness of the abyss to manageable proportions. We focus on the small, the promotion, the quarterly target, the next vacation, because the big, the certainty of our death and the apparent, meaninglessness of our brief existence is too large to face. Becker writes, "Man cuts out for himself a manageable world. He throws himself into action uncritically, unthinkingly. He accepts the cultural programming that turns his nose where he is supposed to look. He doesn't bite the world off in one piece as a giant would, but in small, manageable pieces as a beaver does." I read this in my car in the parking lot before walking into the office, and I understood with a clarity that was physically uncomfortable what the commute is. The commute is not a transportation problem. It is a psychological operation, and it is the daily narrowing of consciousness from the infinite to the manageable. The transition from the person who lay awake at 3 a.m. wondering what it all means to the person who walks into the 9 a.m. meeting with a deck and a plan and a role to perform. The heroic project. Becker doesn't stop at diagnosis. He offers a theory of how humans respond to the terror. We construct what he calls hero projects, systems of meaning that give our lives the illusion of significance. The hero project can be a career, a religion, a nation, a family, an ideology, a creative work. What it must do, what every hero project must do, is convince its participant that their life matters, that their existence transcends the biological cycle of birth and death, that they are more than food for worms. The hero project is not optional. It is a psychological necessity. The person without a hero project is not free. They are suicidal. Becker argues that depression, in many of its forms, is the collapse of the hero project. When the career fails, when the faith wavers, when the relationship ends. The armor cracks and the terror floods in. And the terror, unfaced and unnamed, feels like meaninglessness. I think about my own hero projects. The career in healthcare, a noble one, a real one, a project that saves actual lives, the channel I'm building, and an attempt to leave something behind to convert the ephemeral insights of a reading life into something more durable. The faith I practice, the oldest and most powerful hero project available, the one that promises not merely significance, but immortality. Each of these is real, Each of these has genuine value. And each of these is also, Becker would insist, a defense against the 3 a.m. knowledge that I will die. Is that a contradiction? Is the hero project invalidated by its origin in terror? Becker doesn't think so, and neither do I. The fact that my work is partly a defense against death doesn't make the work less valuable. It makes it more human. It acknowledges that the things we build, the businesses, the families, the books, the channels, are built by mortal creatures who know they're mortal and who build anyway. The alternative. Becker ends his book with a vision of what it would look like to face the terror honestly. Not to deny it, not to armor against it, but to stand in it. He doesn't offer a program. He offers a disposition, the willingness to acknowledge that we are, in the deepest sense, powerless, that the hero project, however grand, cannot defeat death, that the armor, however thick, cannot stop the water. This is where Becker meets Unamuno, the tragic sense of life, the willingness to live in the tension between the desire for immortality and the certainty of death, the refusal to choose, to pretend that the terror isn't real, or that the hero project has solved it. I drive to work every morning, and the commute takes 35 minutes, and for 35 minutes, I am in transit, between the person who lay awake at 3 a.m. and the person who will sit in the 9 a.m. meeting, between the awareness of death and the performance of life, between the terror and the armor. Becker taught me that this transit is not a problem. It is the human condition. And the person who can hold both, the terror and the armor, the 3 a.m. and the 9 a.m., the awareness of death and the willingness to work anyway, is not a hero, is not enlightened, is not saved, is simply honest. And honesty in a world of character armor is the rarest and most valuable thing a person can offer.